It's a cloudy afternoon during Holy Week, but if we're honest, most people, if they cared at all, have already moved on to Easter. Why? Well, because that's the easy and the happy one. The Holy Thursday and the Last Supper and the washing of the feet and Good Friday and Jesus' arrest and his trial and his passion, that's all messy and icky. We like to skip ahead, and that's not good for us. But there's something I want to connect this to, and it's going to be a sensitive topic, so I'm sorry if you stop watching now if that might be an issue, because a shooting happened at a university on Thursday. I am not correlating in a direct way people's church attendance during Holy Week to a shooting or not. However, philosophically, I think there's a common connection that we can deal with, if you will, on both sides. What's the religious side? What's our religious habit? Well, we like to just do the Easter part. Most Christians, unfortunately, they're happy to talk about Easter. Again, if they care at all, they're happy to engage in Easter. Yes, yes, he is risen. But we're not so keen most of the time on diving into Lent and Holy Week that lead up to Easter. And that's a great loss for us. It's a great, we can't understand Easter properly if we skip the things that make Easter make sense. Why? Well, because they're uncomfortable, they're difficult, they're hard for us to engage in. Ash Wednesday is not fun objectively. Everyone comes to free ash because we all like free stuff, even if it's dirt on our forehead. But objective people don't really like to do all of that. Same thing for Holy Week. It's uncomfortable to come have your feet washed. It's uncomfortable to go to Stations of the Cross. It's uncomfortable to read the Passion. And most people don't. Not that you have to come to the liturgy. It's more about that most people don't want to talk about that stuff at all. They want to just skip to Easter and just rejoice in the resurrection, which who wouldn't want to? But if we do that, if we skip the hard parts, we miss out even on the good things. Unfortunately, we do this in relationships too. It's not just in religion. The religion and relationship things goes together. We do it in both the same cases. So often in our lives, we are not willing to enter into the difficulties of the lives of others. We say superficial, we just, talk about your vacation, talk about the weather, we talk about the game or whatever. Superficial office chat stuff. But for many people, even close family and friends, we never enter into real, authentic, intimate relationships. And I don't mean physically, but I mean emotionally, psychologically. We keep barriers up, we keep at a distance from everybody. We keep everyone far away. But Jesus doesn't do that. In the Last Supper, it's very beautiful the way when he goes to wash the apostles' feet. They don't want it. They try and keep a distance. Peter's like, no, Lord, you can't do that. No, please. He's embarrassed. But Jesus says, no, I'm going to wash your feet. And then Peter understands, at least a little bit. And then he gives them his body and blood. He says, take, eat, this is my body. Like, it's not a symbol, it's not a superficial outward thing, it's not just some, nice gesture. He gives them completely himself in the most profound way possible. Both at the Last Supper there and the crucifixion, it's all one event, it all goes together. And then of course on the cross, well, even leading up to his trial and his passion and his carrying of the cross and his crucifixion, it's all this very visceral, messy, uncomfortable, just to hear it. When we have to shout, crucify him, that's meant to make us feel uncomfortable, and it's supposed to, and it should, and it's good for us because it breaks through that wall, that barrier. Things like shootings happen because people have not experienced that. No one has come to them and given them authentic relationship, authentic friendship. Now, that's true for a whole lot of people. A few of those people end up doing very tragic things. But the world is full of people who are desperate for someone to care about them. Desperate for someone to step into their lives and really actually get to know how they are. To ask them what's going on. How can I help you? Is there something I can pray for you for? What do you need? Right? No one who has good, authentic friends and family, no one who has real, deep, meaningful relationships brings a gun somewhere. I'm not a psychologist, but you can see it over and over again. Everyone, it seems like, who does that kind of thing, we hear, oh, they were, you know, they were a nice person. Like, yeah, you know, he said hi to me all the time. Like, okay, did you ever ask him what his struggles were? Did you ever ask him how he really is today? Did you ever say, hey man, you want to talk about anything? Probably that didn't happen. Now, there's an aspect of, we might do that and people might rebuff us. Okay, we can't fix everything. But for the most part, we don't even try. We're content with the superficial in our social and societal life and in our religious life. And it has consequences for our salvation and for people's lives. It's not always about life and death, but it can be. I think those shootings that we have so many of illustrate that. I am convinced, maybe you're not, but I am convinced that so much of our societal violence, especially gun violence, especially the really tragic things, could be prevented if we were better Christians. If we did a better job of entering, like our Lord, into the mess of other people's lives, that would make so much difference. Would it prevent everything? No, probably not. The world is a broken place. But again, how many people that perpetuate violence of some kind didn't have anybody who actually cared about them? No one who was willing to step into their lives, get to know them, actually love them like Jesus loved them. I think that our unwillingness to enter into the hard parts of the Christian life, of Lent and Holy Week especially, is illustrated in how we engage with the difficulties of society. We want just the happy, easy, fun, joyful parts in religion and in society, and we want to skip over the hard, messy, difficult stuff. And it shows out in both areas to our detriment and that of others. So whether you're watching this during Holy Week now, or in the future during Easter, or just the rest of the year, please make a decision to take seriously what our Lord gave us, to understand that He gave us the Eucharist as this profound, spiritual, divine reality, not just a symbol, but something absolutely substantial and beautiful and wonderful and transcendent, that His death on the cross was not just some empty gesture, but the most profound thing that He could do for us, and that then His resurrection makes so much sense. The rest of the whole year, the rest of our lives will be vividly brought to life by understanding, by embracing the difficulties of the Christian, by taking up our cross and following Him. And likewise, in our relationships, to be willing to enter into other people's mess and distress and despair. We will be imitating our Lord, and therefore bringing to others the grace that He brings to us. Let us be like Jesus, to enter into the mess, to enter into the difficult things, and then we can share all the more in the joys of the victory of the resurrection. Again, just bring it back around to societal stuff, to people who are in trouble, who are in difficulties. By going into the Passion, the Last Supper, the trials with them, with those who are suffering from despair or loneliness, we can bring them to resurrection. We can bring them, not by our own power, but by Christ's power, to new life. We can spare trauma, we can spare violence. We can, in fact, bring new beauty to the world where there would have been darkness and despair. That is the role of a Christian, and we have a great example in our Lord who did the same. He entered into the messiness of other people's lives and therefore showed them His grace through it. In Lent, in Easter, in ordinary time, in the whole year, let us be joyful and courageous to take up the Lord's cross, take up our cross in our lives that He has given us, not be afraid of His passion, of the messiness, even of the sacraments, and therefore bring ourselves and others to resurrection. God bless. Lord, have mercy.